Hello, everybody. My name is Maddie. We're here today to present to you an exciting topic about AMD ROCm software becoming a first-class platform in the vLLM. So about myself, I'm an AI solution architect at AMD, part of the AIG marketing at AMD. My goal is to be connected to developers, so developer enablement, and tracking the latest AI trends, whether it's model or software that we want to make sure that works on AMD. I'm also happy to have Andy, who I report to here. So Andy leads a larger team, so I'll give Andy to also introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. This is Andy, working at the AMD. So my team is focusing on the open source AI software support as well as AI performance optimization. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. So the way it's going to go today is we have a short presentation prepared for you. We'll talk about the latest vLLM release with ROCm. And then after that, you'll have time for some questions that either me or Andy will do our best to answer. If you don't know the answer, or it's not within the domain expertise of us, we'll make sure it's directed to the right people and you get your answer eventually. So let's get started. The topic, as I mentioned, is about vLLM becoming a first-class platform in the vLLM ecosystem. And hopefully you're all familiar with vLLM and have used vLLM for inference or in any capacity. So it's one of the most popular ways of running LLMs. And if you are serving large models, you know picking the model is not the problem. It's everything around it. So it's about installs, drivers, weird build errors, constant question of, if I update with this current deployment will break or not. So when we say ROCm is a first-class platform in the vLLM ecosystem, we mean something specific. ROCm isn't a side path or a fork anymore. It's on the main branch. It's tested, released, and usable in the same way people expect on any platform. So the goal of this presentation is to show what changed, why it matters, and what you can do to deploy and run high-performance inference on AMD Instinct GPUs. So let's define first class in practical terms. First class means you don't need special knowledge to be successful. You shouldn't have to hunt through unofficial forks, hand compile dependencies, or pray feature works. It should just feel normal. It should just work. So here we lay out 3 promises we focused on. We're going to get a little bit deeper into each of them, but on high level, the 3 things that we focused on was performance and features, obviously unlocking more fast kernels and quantization paths. For stability and usability, we did a lot of work on making sure we have higher test coverage. And for day 0 support, that includes both models and any sort of innovations within the vLLM ecosystem. So to get there, it wasn't a one-night work. It wasn't just flipping a switch. It took us quite a long time working with the vLLM maintainers. So here, first class means upstream quality, so upstream testing, upstream release habits. So our work centered on 3 things. One, keep focusing on more of ROCm working as vLLM evolves. Less of hot fix after breaks or band-aid solutions, and more of engineering it right upstream. And aligning with maintainers of vLLM and the community to make sure ROCm stays part of the core path. Talking about performance, so the latest release we had, ROCm landed major improvements for quantization. So it delivered major FP8 and FP4 and low bit improvements, including native A-tier FP8 kernels. If you're not familiar with A-tier, it's basically a set of libraries of high-performance kernels that we have. It's open source. You can check it out. It's got more coverage of FP8 kernels with A-tier enabled. We have a fused layer norm and CLU FP8 block quantization added to it. Triton scaled matrix multiplication fallback, MX FP4 with W4A 4-bit activation 4-bit MOE inference, FP8 MLA decode, and Fuse RMS norm quantization were all part of this release. Then there's a throughput part of it. So we get higher token per seconds from things like optimized KV cache and assembly level page attention, faster sampling ops, and fewer extra memory copies in some paths. So those are all added, and faster safe tensor loading. So your weights can get transferred to GPU memory faster. Speed is good, but we know we all run multiple models, and we always want to try the latest one. So as part of that, we did work on the architecture level of the models as well. So there was more support for the architecture part of things, such as now we have DeepSeek v3.2 plus sparse MLA and OpenAI's Whisper v1 with A-tier attention, plus broader architecture features like sliding window attention, multi-token prediction MTP, and non-gated MOE support. And on the hardware side of things, there's a concrete example of extending bits and bytes quantization to warp size 32 GPUs, such as RDNA RX 7900 XTX. And this is one of the things that I guess like got us to this stage that we are, which back in November 2025, we had only about 37% of the vLLM test groups in AMD's CI were passing. By mid-January 2026, so it's now about 93%. So our goal is to get to 100%, and we have a clear path to get there. This is a massive jump for us in a short time. So it means you're not just hoping it works today, you can expect it to work. Keep working as vLLM evolves. Some of the benefits for you guys now is now with the vLLM and ROCm merging the same path, being upstream, you can now use pip install and get the latest version of vLLM with all the latest changes available for you with one single command. No need to build from source or get a specialized Docker. You can always get the latest version of it from vLLM.ai, the official documented page of vLLM, which will include the latest in path, the URL for you to be able to pull for ROCm. There is a table there, so you could pick AMD as your hardware, and you'll see the commands to run for the pip install. And for team shipping production services, wheels are great, but containers are usually the safest known good environment. So we now have an official ROCm container flow that matches how people already deploy vLLM. This image supports the standard vLLM server entry points, and it's upstream. The same as the one I mentioned before. You can just go to vLLM.ai and you'll pick Docker as your deployment method, and you can see the latest tag for that Docker. Speaking of day zero, so up to now we've been mostly talking about classic LLM serving, but the ecosystem is moving fast, and multimodality is obviously a hot topic. So models aren't only text only. vLLM-omni is about efficient serving for omni-modality, so text, image, audio, video, and non-autoregressive generations such as diffusion style models. So vLLM-omni was launched back in November, and we had day zero support from the beginning. It did require you to maybe build from source or get a specialized Docker for it, but it's changed. So QuantOmni, for example, is a group of models that it supports within the vLLM-omni. So models can take, the QuantOmni models can take text, image, audio, video, and output text and audio. And diffusion image models can take text plus image and output images. Here's a practical detail that I actually wanted to touch on. So if you ever used vLLM-omni, within the last month or so when it was released, one of the pains was that they had a specialized YAML file that was basically a hardware configured file. So now with the latest release, we actually have some for ROCm added there, so you don't need to, tune it. It's always all already there for you and packaged, and you can just use it as is. So even for vLLM-omni, we have dedicated ROCm CI pipeline. This went live on December 29th, 2025, and now the Docker is available since January 6, 2026. So you no longer have to build everything from source just to try it. We want you to spend time building applications, not configuring environments. So for the road ahead, this is a great achievement for us, but this is not done yet. So we want to continue to push. So we would like to enable nightly Docker builds and builds to improve the Python-only installation experience. Unlocking graph capture performance for vLLM-omni. Obviously, continued kernel improvements to ensure the fastest way of running models are provided to you. And broader support for AMD Radeon consumer GPUs, which we are continuously working on. We talked about day zero support in terms of ecosystem. In terms of the models, we are continually doing that. Andy is actually one of the guys that lead that work. We can ask more questions about this. But examples that are included here is Quant 3.5, which was released, I believe, last week. Minimax M 2.5 also released a week before that. So all of these models, from day zero, you had support for it, and you could run it with AMD vLLM ecosystem. So this is just basically a wrap-up slide for everybody that, hey, the environment is ready. We're working really hard to make sure that we are part of the mainstream for these open source projects, such as vLLM. Today we're talking about vLLM. Future we have more topics. But it's your chance to start building without worrying about the environment and how to get a package up. It's an acknowledgement for all the people in terms of the AMD collaboration and vLLM maintainers that help make that happen. And finally, in terms of what you could do is, if you haven't already, we have launched our AMD developer program where everything I talked about, you can actually get our MI300 GPU access through this platform. So we give you $100 free credit to do so. If you like any of the courses in deeplearning.ai, they also give you a 1 month free a pro membership through this program. Is free to join. So same developer program doesn't cost you anything. It's just for us to connect it to developers. We will have monthly AMD hardware sweepstakes that every month you may win one of our hardware. You're all part of the Discord channel if you're watching this. And we do put out AMD AI Academy classes continuously, and you can get accredited from AMD AI Academy. And obviously, there is a lot of exciting events that we are planning globally with some of the very well-known people in AI that is coming up. So you'll be the first one to know and sign up before it gets sold out. So that is it on my side in terms of presentation.